Another movie that was on my list of ones I should probably watch, along with Inside Out and Dead Poet Society, was the 80s classic The Breakfast Club. It's impossible not to know this movie in some form, in one form or another. In fact, even before I actually sat down to watch the original version of it, I actually saw the Victorious version of it quite a long time ago, which does follow quite close to it. But yeah, this movie, it was on, once again, on my list of movies I should probably watch for a while. But I finally did it. I got it for Christmas several years ago. It was in my stocking. And I just got I tried to watch it once at a time, but then I got distracted by other things. Life moved on. And yeah, so I finally sat down, put it on, watched it through. And while I don't know if it would quite make my list of favourite movies, I can see why people consider this a classic, especially the 1980s. I mean, this movie came from the genius that was John Hughes, who created quite a string of classic movies such as The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, Planes, Trains and Automobiles, and the Home Alone franchise. But as I said, while this isn't one of my favourite movies, I do particularly like the kind of messaging that they get in. That while you may look at people in high school and see them for the stereotypes that they appear to be, the brain, the athlete, the basket case, the princess, and the criminals, you don't know from first glance what's going on with them. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and you can't necessarily judge them just for those stereotypes. That, for me, was a pretty strong message. Like when they revealed, kind of towards the end of the film, that the brain, the brain member of their group, has had problems, and he was actually contemplating suicide. That, for me, seemed like a very real problem, and they did it in a very believable way. Like people who are under such pressure to do well that they can't seem to handle failure. And that for me was kind of pretty strong, and they dealt with it in a really believable way. I mean, plus with the movie's ending, you could argue any way it is. You could argue it could go anywhere, but I think the main motivations of it are that these people are going to move on. They're going to keep going to high school. They're going to keep moving on with their lives, and they're probably not going to ever be kind of best friends, but they do have a greater appreciation for each other and what each person is going through, which I did actually find quite touching. I mean, there have been things over the years that people who have said, oh, there should have been a sequel. Personally, I don't think so. I don't think it's that kind of movie. I mean, with other kind of modern movies in the modern day, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Harry Potter franchise, Lord of the Rings, yeah, those things, they're all great. They can build a big, expansive universe and dial away as many films as they want. This film, I don't really think it needed a sequel, and neither did John Hughes. It's about a singular time in your life. Similar to another one of his films, Ferris Bueller, they never really kind of came up with a plausible sequel to it. These people are probably never going to meet again, or at least not under the same circumstances. And you know what? They're going to go their whole lives probably never entirely seeing straight eye to eye again, but it's a good movie. That's all there really is to it. I mean, as I said, it's not one of my favourites, but I can appreciate it. It is one of those great films. And, yeah. It probably wouldn't go the same for anybody else, for that particular group of people, but they all have to live with what's going on. The kind of pressure to do well, the pressure to do well, the guilt at what they have done, being socially awkward, being socially insecure, and just not caring about the world. In the end, that's what they were. They were a brain, an athlete, a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. And you know what? That just made a perfect movie. I wonder what other great movies will end up on my list of ones I should probably watch. We'll just have to wait and see over time. But The Breakfast Club, I'm glad I saw it, and until the next time I watch it again. Anyway, see ya.